Hey everyone, my name is Gamaruda and welcome to the tutorial for the hybrid slime farm design. This design is kind of a combination of two existing slime farm concepts, hence the name, and with optimal conditions I was able to get over 24,000 items per hour. I'm going to start off by discussing the design a bit and what optimal conditions for a slime farm actually are, and then I will get to the building tutorial after that. If you don't care about why it is designed like it is and you just want to see the tutorial, you can skip to this timecode for that. The overworld part of this farm is pretty much the same as the design that Ilmango showed off in this video. The big difference is the nether portals, so instead of this slime spawning and being attracted to the golems and then falling onto magma blocks and dying, they go through the nether portal and then get killed in the nether. When they enter the nether, they get removed from the mob cap, which means that more slimes can spawn here, which increases the efficiency. When they come to the nether, they come through this portal and then push each other off or just hop off themselves onto the wither roses, and the wither roses kill them, and then the hoppers can pick up their items through the soul sand. This killing chamber is, again, pretty much the same as the design showed off by Ilmango in this video. However, I did make the glass cage a bit bigger because since the nether portals in the overworld are larger, the game kind of spawns some of these slimes on the walls of the nether portal or on the top of it, and then they could have jumped out, so I had to increase the glass cage to keep them all contained. To get the rates of this farm, I tested with lots of different conditions to make sure I could get as accurate as information as possible. So the conditions that I changed were the difficulty and the time in the world. When a slime spawns, its size is affected by the regional difficulty, and the regional difficulty is affected by the difficulty of the game, that being easy, normal, or hard, the time that the chunk has been loaded, and the total playtime in the world. It's also affected by the moon phase, but I didn't account for that in my testing. So like I said before, with optimal conditions, so hard difficulty with 50 hours or more in the world, I was able to get 24,678 items per hour. I also tested with less than optimal conditions, so less total playtime in the world, or on normal difficulty, and I still got 22,000 items per hour or up. I did some tests with more than one farm to see how it would scale and if it would reach the mob cap. So with 2 farms it was almost double the drops, and I tested all the way up to 6 farms. With 6 farms it was 133,000 drops. If it had scaled perfectly it should have been 144,000 drops. I'm not sure why it didn't get that because it wasn't reaching the mob cap. I went full nerd and everything and I made a graph, and as you can see it scales almost perfectly, but not quite. Now we can get on to building it. So the materials that you'll need to build one of these farms are 3,232 slabs of your choice, it doesn't matter what they are, 258 obsidian, 44 torches, 88 string, and then another 228 string or slabs or other non-spawnable block. You need 120 walls or fences, 1,056 transparent blocks, so that can be glass or slabs or stairs, just something that can act as a wall for the farm so that the slimes don't get out, 48 iron blocks and 12 carved pumpkins. And then for the nether side, you need 521 blocks to encase the nether portal. I chose glass because I like to be able to see through, and some chests. Depending on how you want to kill the slimes, you'll need 81 soul sand and wither roses and at least 81 hoppers, or 81 magma blocks and some rails, hoppers, and hopper minecarts. I would also recommend just getting 64 temporary blocks to help scaffold and everything. Before you start building, you're going to need to find a slime chunk. I've already marked one out. If you need help finding one, there are plenty of tutorials on YouTube. I'll link the website that I use to find slime chunks in the description. Once you've found this slime chunk, you can press F3 and G to see the chunk borders, and the spawning platforms need to be 18 by 16 blocks. So where it shows the chunk border here, on 2 of the sides you want to go out by 1 block, and then for the other sides you can just remain inside the chunk border. So the first spawning platform should be looking like this. As you can see, it's just slightly wider than a chunk. You can get rid of that now. We also need to light up the platforms as we go along so that only slimes can spawn on them. So where it's 18 blocks wide, you want to go 4 blocks in from the edge and then place the torch. And then from the 16 block wide direction, you want to go 5 blocks in from the edge. And you want to do this for all 4 corners. The torches don't light up the whole thing, but the nether portals also light up the edges. So you might have to fight off a few mobs while you're building it, but once we're done, it will be fine. The next spawning platform needs to be 3 blocks up, so we go up 3 blocks and then place a top slab. And we want to do 5 more of these, so we in total have 6 spawning platforms. So 3 blocks and then top slab, and just fill them all up with the same torches and everything. Once we have 6 platforms, we want to go up 4 blocks this time, and then place a bottom slab, and that's because the nether portal will finish here and we need the big slimes to be able to fit through. So once you've gone up 4 blocks, each new platform will again be 3 blocks up. And we want to do another 5 platforms. So now we should have 11 spawning platforms. There's a 2.5 block gap between them, except for the 6th platform, which should have a 3.5 block gap. Now we can build the nether portal. So if we bring up the chunk borders again, on the side where the spawning platform is 16 blocks wide, that is where you want to build the nether portal. So the nether portal should also be 18 blocks wide. And you want to build it all the way across. The pillars should be just 1 block out from the edge of the spawning platform. And then up to the bottom of the 7th platform and go across and fill it all up. And then from the 7th platform up to the top, we can use the top of the other nether portal for the bottom of this one, and then 3 blocks up and then add the roof. You also want to build the same nether portals on the other side of the farm, but we don't want to light them just yet. Now for the iron golems, we need 1 iron golem per 2 spawning platforms. So we need to go from the first one, go 3 blocks out, and then place 2 bottom slabs, then grab the walls or fences, and surround 1 block up from it like that, and just leave one side open so we can build the golem structure, and then just push the golem in and close it off. So this golem will cover these 2 spawning platforms, and then we go up to the 3rd one and do the same thing again. Then again at the 5th platform, once we've got 3 golems, we need to go 2 blocks up from the wall, and then place another 2 bottom slabs for the golem to stand on, and build the same cage. After these 2 ones that are close together, it's back to 1 iron golem for every 2 platforms, so we go up to the next platform after this one, and put another cage, and then another 2 platforms up from that you want to put 1 more cage. So in total we should have 6 golems. Once you've done the 6 golems on this side, you need to just replicate it the exact same on the other side. Before we move on, I want to mention that these iron golem platforms are the bare minimum. If there's a chance that there will be zombies or skeletons around, I would recommend building up the walls a bit more to make sure that they don't get killed. Now that we have the iron golems in, we can build the walls of the farm. These need to be transparent blocks, at least for the foot level of each spawning platform. The reason is for pack spawning, which I'll explain in a little bit, but we just need to fill in the whole side of the farm all the way up to 2 blocks above the last spawning platform, and do this for both sides. Now we need to take the string, and from the top platform we want to make sure it's on the same block. We just want to leave 1 block for the nether portal, and then build a 2 block wide string roof. It will get a little hard to see what you're doing, but we just need to do string for this part. And then also cover the iron golem cage, the top iron golem cage, with string. Then we need to do that again on the other side. For the rest of the roof, just take whichever non-spawnable block you chose, and on the same level as this string, go 4 blocks out from the nether portal and then 3 blocks out in the other direction. And then just fill in the rest of the area. Once we finish the roof, it should be looking something like this, unless of course you chose to use string, in which case you probably can't even see what you've done. The reason we built this roof and used transparent blocks for the walls of the farm is for pack spawning. I'm not going to explain exactly how pack spawning works in this video. There's a great video by LogicalGeekBoy and Methods, so if you want to know how that works, I will leave a link in the description. But all you really need to know is that having a block here means that every air block below it will be considered for a pack spawning attempt. And using transparent blocks here means that the pack spawning attempts can find their way inside the farm. If we used a solid block, it would block the pack spawning attempt and that would fail. So we just want more spawn attempts that can potentially find their way into the farm so we get more slimes in total. You could also increase the size of the roof, so I've only gone 5 blocks out from the chunk border, but if you wanted to, you could go 10 blocks out, which would actually increase the drops for the farm to over 25,000 drops, but then going out 15 blocks from the chunk border or 20 blocks doesn't really increase the drops at all. So the biggest roof I would recommend is 10 blocks out from the chunk border. Now we need to build the killing chamber in the nether, so if we just light the portal and go through. Depending on where the nether portal generates, you might need to move it. I would recommend putting it in the middle of a chunk, just so that the whole thing is guaranteed to stay loaded. When you build the new portal, it needs to be 7 blocks wide by 5 blocks high. Then we need to go 4 blocks out from the front, or from either side of the nether portal. And then on the 5th block, you want to start placing the wall. And then on the other sides of the nether portal, we need to go out, leave 1 block between them, and go around. So the walls of this enclosure should be 11 by 11, and then we want to bring them all the way up to 3 blocks above the top of the nether portal, and then you can build the roof at that height. We also need to bring the walls down 3 blocks below the bottom of the nether portal. Depending on which method you chose for killing the slimes, we need to go 1 block down from the wall and then place the soul sand or magma blocks, and then fill in the whole area. If you chose to use wither roses, we just need to fill in the whole area with those as well. Then for the collection system, if you chose to use wither roses, you can just place hoppers straight underneath the soul sand. Since they're not full blocks, the hoppers will be able to pick up the items from on top of them. If you chose to use magma blocks, then you'll just need to go 1 block below and place some rails with hopper minecarts going off into your collection system. The last thing that we need to do now is just light the rest of the nether portals, and then we should have a fully functioning farm. So I hope you enjoyed this video, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!